For over 30 years, my office has been a refuge for people just like you. People who arrive with the weight of the world on their shoulders, not because of the challenges of the day, but because of the silent torture of the night. What if I told you that the solution to your insomnia after 60 is not, in most cases, in a bottle of pills with a list of side effects, but perhaps hidden in plain sight in your own kitchen? It sounds too simple, I know. But the truth about sleep, especially at this stage of life, is that it's much more about restoration than sedation. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 3 best foods that, when understood and used correctly, can truly transform your nights, helping your body relearn how to sleep. And I'm not just going to list what to eat. I'm going to explain why, the fascinating science behind each one, and how they become the key to unlocking the deep, restful sleep you so deserve. Now, I want you to connect with a feeling. That feeling at 3 a.m. The house is completely silent. The world is asleep, except you. Your eyes open in the dark, and instantly, the mental calculator starts working. If I go to sleep now, I'll get about 3 hours, maybe 2.5. And with that calculation comes a wave of anxiety, a tightness in your chest, your mind racing on a merry-go-round of past and future worries. The next day already seems exhausting before it even begins. Lack of focus, forgetting little things, irritability that affects those you love most. This isn't just tiredness, it's theft, a theft of your vitality, your mental clarity, and the joy of living your golden years with the fulfillment you've earned. Often my patients come in and say, "Doctor, it's like my body has forgotten how to sleep." The truth is, it hasn't forgotten. It's just stopped receiving the right signals. And the question we're going to answer together today is, how can we, through simple and smart choices, start sending the right signals to our brains night after night? Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal goes far beyond a simple shopping list. It's the first step toward regaining control of your nights and, consequently, your days. To understand why certain foods work, we first need to understand why sleep changes so much after age 60. Imagine that your ability to sleep throughout your life is like a large, sturdy tree. In youth, this tree has deep roots and a strong trunk. A storm may shake its branches, but it remains firm. Sleep is deep and consolidated. A bad night is easily made up for the next night. As we age, this tree does not die, but its structure changes. The roots become a little shallower, the trunk perhaps a little less flexible. The architecture of our sleep, as we call it in medicine, becomes more fragile. The stages of deep sleep, phases 3 and 4, which are essential for physical repair and memory consolidation, naturally decrease. Sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented. That storm, a noise in the street, the need to go to the bathroom, a sudden worry that previously barely disturbed us is now enough to wake us up. And the hardest part is falling back asleep. This happens for some very clear biological reasons. The main one is a change in melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone our brain produces in the dark to signal that it's time to sleep. Think of it as the conductor of an orchestra. It signals all the instruments in the body to start playing the symphony of sleep. After age 60, the pineal gland, the small melatonin factory in our brain, simply becomes less efficient. It produces less, and peak production occurs earlier in the evening. That's why many people feel sleepy right after dinner, but if they miss that window, they stay wide awake. In addition, our central biological clock, the circadian rhythm, also loses some of its strength. This internal clock, which governs hundreds of processes in the body, depends on clear signals of light and darkness, activity and rest. With routine changes in retirement or with less exposure to natural sunlight, these signals can become confused, and the clock starts to lose track of time. The body is left wondering when it is supposed to be active and when it is supposed to rest. Understanding this is liberating. It is not your fault. It is not psychological. It is a real physiological change that requires a different approach. We cannot fight this new reality with the same weapons we used before. We need smarter strategies that work with our bodies, not against them. This is where strategic nutrition comes in, not as magic, but as pure biochemistry, providing your body with the raw materials it needs to rebuild your night's sleep. If you are finding value in this explanation and feel that someone finally understands what you are going through, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every like and subscribe helps us bring this message of hope and clarity to more people who are awake in the middle of the night, searching for answers. By doing so, you join a community of people dedicated to finding their way back to peaceful nights. Let's start with our first nighttime ally, and it may surprise you. We're not talking about warm chamomile tea, although that has its place. We're talking about something with a much more targeted biochemical power: sour cherries, also known as tart cherries. And when I say sour cherries, I don't mean those sweet, shiny cherries that decorate desserts. I'm talking about the more tart variety, such as Montmorency, which is a true nutritional treasure for those who suffer from insomnia. Why? Because sour cherries are one of the few significant natural food sources of melatonin. Yes, the same hormone that your brain is producing in smaller amounts you can get directly from a fruit. That's extraordinary. Think of it this way. Taking a synthetic melatonin supplement is like using a generic master key to open the door to sleep. It works, it can open the door, but sometimes abruptly, forcefully, and not always at the ideal time. Melatonin from a whole food like tart cherries is like the original key to the lock. It comes with a set of other compounds, such as proanthocyanidins and tryptophan, that work synergistically. It's a key that not only opens the door, but turns it gently, at just the right pace, preparing the entire internal environment for natural restorative sleep. Science validates this folk wisdom. Several studies, such as those published in the European Journal of Nutrition and the American Journal of Therapeutics, have investigated the effect of concentrated tart cherry juice on sleep. The results are consistently positive. Participants who consumed the juice not only fell asleep faster, but also increased their total sleep time by up to 84 minutes in some studies. More importantly, they improved their sleep efficiency, which is the percentage of time you actually spend asleep while in bed. That means less time tossing and turning. Another fascinating compound in tart cherries is tryptophan, an essential amino acid. Tryptophan is the direct precursor to serotonin, our feel-good hormone. Serotonin, in turn, is converted into melatonin in the brain when light dims. So, by consuming sour cherries, you're attacking on two fronts. You're providing exogenous, from outside melatonin, and at the same time, you're providing the raw material for your brain to produce its own endogenous, from within, melatonin. It's a much more comprehensive strategy. I remember a patient, let's call him Robert. At 68, he was a retired engineer, a skeptical and logical man. He had tried everything for his chronic insomnia: sleep hygiene, meditation, teas. Nothing seemed to consistently touch the problem. When I suggested tart cherry juice, he looked at me with a suspicious smile. "Doctor, with all due respect, is a fruit going to solve a decades-old problem?" I challenged him to try it for 2 weeks consistently. He came back looking not only more rested but genuinely intrigued. "It's the first time in years," he said, "that I've felt sleep come on. It's not like turning off a light, it's like the sun slowly setting. I lie down and feel my body getting heavy, my mind calming down. I still wake up once to go to the bathroom, but the difference is that I go back to bed and sleep again, instead of staring at the ceiling." Robert's experience perfectly illustrates the effect. It's not a knockout, it's a regulation. It's guiding the body back to its natural rhythm. How can you incorporate this into your life? The most studied and convenient form is concentrated juice with no added sugar. A 30 milliliter dose, diluted in a little water, about 1 to 2 hours before bedtime, is a good starting point. You can also find frozen or dried fruits, although the concentration of active compounds may vary. The important thing is consistency. It's not a one-night solution, it is a treatment. You need to give it time for the levels of these compounds to build up and start regulating your system. Think of it like watering a plant. You don't throw a bucket of water on it once a month. You water it a little consistently to keep the soil fertile and the plant healthy. With tart cherries, you are nourishing your sleep cycle consistently, night after night. Now let's move on to our second ally, a food that combats a very specific aspect of insomnia in more mature people: restlessness. Both mental restlessness, the mind that won't shut down, and physical restlessness, that feeling in your legs, muscle spasms, or simply the inability to find a comfortable position. I'm talking about nuts and seeds, and in particular, almonds and pecans. The secret hero here is an essential mineral: magnesium. If melatonin is the conductor who starts the symphony of sleep, magnesium is the musician who tunes the instruments and calms the audience. It is nature's great relaxant. Unfortunately, it is estimated that a large percentage of the population, especially older adults, have insufficient magnesium intake. And why is this crucial for sleep? Magnesium plays a key role in more than 300 biochemical reactions in the body, and several of these are directly linked to relaxation and sleep. First, it regulates neurotransmitters. Magnesium binds to GABA receptors in the brain. GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, is the main inhibitory neurotransmitter in our nervous system. Its function is to decrease neuronal activity. Think of your brain as a room full of people talking at the same time. GABA is the person who gets up on stage and says, "Silence, please. Let's slow down." Magnesium helps that message be heard loud and clear, promoting a state of mental calm that is a prerequisite for sleep. Without enough magnesium, it's as if the brain's volume is always turned up to the max. Second, magnesium helps regulate the stress hormone cortisol. In a healthy sleep cycle, cortisol levels are lower at night and peak in the morning to help us wake up. In people with insomnia, this rhythm is often reversed, with cortisol spikes at night, causing that alert and tired feeling. Magnesium helps keep cortisol levels in check during the night, preventing those anxious awakenings. And finally, there's the direct physical effect. Magnesium is crucial for muscle relaxation. It acts as a natural blocker of calcium, which is responsible for muscle contraction. When magnesium is present, it competes with calcium, allowing muscle fibers to relax. This is why magnesium deficiency is often associated with nighttime cramps, restless leg syndrome, and a general feeling of physical tension that makes falling asleep a struggle. To illustrate, imagine your nervous system as a car. Calcium is the accelerator and magnesium is the brake. For smooth driving, you need a perfect balance between the two. If you have too much accelerator, calcium, and too little brake, magnesium, the car is fast, unstable, and difficult to stop. That's exactly what happens in your body at night without enough magnesium. Magnesium absorption can also decline with age, and certain medications, such as diuretics and proton pump inhibitors, commonly used by people over 60, can further deplete the body's stores. It's a perfect storm for deficiency. That's why a small change in diet can have such a big impact. A handful of almonds, about 28 grams, provides nearly 20% of your daily magnesium requirement. They also contain a little tryptophan and even melatonin, although in smaller amounts than tart cherries, making them a near-perfect evening snack. Pecans and pumpkin seeds are also excellent sources. The practical guide is simple: a small handful, about an hour before bedtime. That's enough to provide the therapeutic dose without adding too many calories. It is important that they are raw or dry roasted and unsalted so as not to raise blood pressure or cause thirst during the night. This is one of those changes that, although small, sends a powerful message of calm to your entire system, from your mind to your muscles. Now I would like to propose a reflection. Think about your nights. Which of these feelings is more familiar to you? A mind that won't stop, filled with thoughts and worries that seem gigantic in the dark, or a body that won't relax, a physical tension that prevents you from surrendering to rest? Share your experience in the comments. There is no right or wrong answer, but understanding which aspect of insomnia affects you most is a crucial step in finding the right solution. And by sharing, you may help someone else feel less alone in their struggle. We've come to our third and final food, and this one addresses a deeper, quieter cause of insomnia, something we call invisible fire: low-grade chronic inflammation. I'm talking about fatty fish, such as wild salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring. The connection between inflammation and sleep is one of the most fascinating areas of modern sleep medicine. When we think of inflammation, we usually imagine something acute and visible, a swollen ankle, a red throat. But there is another type of inflammation, a systemic and silent condition that can develop over years, often associated with aging, a process some scientists call inflammaging. Think of this chronic inflammation as a low-volume fire alarm constantly ringing throughout your body. During the day, with the noise of everyday life, you may not even notice it. But at night, when everything calms down, that alarm becomes deafening to your nervous system, preventing you from reaching the deepest, most restorative stages of sleep. This constant inflammation keeps your immune system on high alert, releasing pro-inflammatory cytokines that can directly interfere with the brain mechanisms that regulate sleep. This is where fatty fish become heroes. They are the richest source of two specific types of omega-3 fatty acids, EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. These aren't just fats. They are powerful anti-inflammatory agents. EPA and DHA act like firefighters who arrive and systematically and efficiently turn off these little fire alarms throughout the body. They do this by inhibiting the production of inflammatory cytokines and producing compounds called resolvins and protectins, whose names say it all. They resolve inflammation and protect tissues. In addition to its anti-inflammatory power, DHA is a critical structural component of your brain. About 60% of your brain is fat, and a large part of that fat is DHA. It is essential for the fluidity of neuron cell membranes, allowing them to communicate effectively. A brain well nourished with DHA is a calmer, more resilient brain, better able to regulate cycles such as sleep. But the magic of fatty fish doesn't stop there. They are also one of the best natural sources of vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency is a global epidemic, especially affecting older populations who tend to get less sun exposure and have a reduced ability to synthesize it in their skin. For a long time, we associated vitamin D only with bone health. Today, we know that there are vitamin D receptors in virtually every cell in the body, including the areas of the brain responsible for regulating sleep, such as the hypothalamus. Studies, such as one published in the journal Sleep, have shown a strong correlation between low vitamin D levels and poor sleep quality, shorter sleep duration, and increased daytime sleepiness. The combination of omega-3 and vitamin D in fatty fish is a perfect synergy for sleep. You are simultaneously fighting inflammation that disrupts sleep and providing an essential nutrient to the sleep control centers in the brain. I remember a patient, Maria, a 72-year-old retired music teacher. Her main complaint was insomnia, but she also mentioned chronic joint pain and morning stiffness that robbed her of the pleasure of playing the piano. She wasn't very fond of fish, but she committed to trying to include salmon or sardines in her diet 2 to 3 times a week. After about a month, she returned to the office. "Doctor, something curious has happened," she said. "I started eating fish because of my sleep, and yes, I am waking up less. But the most amazing thing is that my hands don't hurt as much in the morning. I've started playing the piano every day again." Maria's story is a beautiful example of how treating the root cause, inflammation, not only improves one symptom, but reverberates throughout the body, restoring health and quality of life in unexpected ways. The practical recommendation is to consume well-sourced fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week. Choose gentle cooking methods such as baking or steaming to preserve the delicate omega-3 oils. For those who really can't eat fish, a high-quality purified fish oil supplement rich in EPA and DHA may be a valid alternative, but whole foods always offer a more complex nutrient matrix. So, let's recap our journey. We've seen that to combat insomnia after 60, we need a multifaceted strategy. We need to support melatonin production with foods such as tart cherries. We need to calm the nervous system and relax the muscles with magnesium-rich sources such as almonds and walnuts. And we need to control silent inflammation and nourish the brain with omega-3 and vitamin D from fatty fish. Do you see the pattern? It's not about a single magic trick. It's about consistently providing your body with the fundamental building blocks for healthy sleep. It's an approach that respects your body's biology. However, I am the first to admit, as a doctor who hears my patients every day, modern life is complicated. Remembering to buy the right cherry juice, always having fresh nuts on hand, planning and cooking fish several times a week, this can become just another item on a long to-do list, another source of stress when what we are looking for is just the opposite. You may be thinking, that all makes perfect sense, doctor, but it's a lot to manage. Isn't there a simpler, more integrated way to apply these principles? That's the right question. And the answer is yes. A truly effective and convenient solution for sleep shouldn't add to your mental load. It should be integrated. It should combine these principles in a smart, synergistic way. To be ideal, a solution would need to meet some strict criteria based on everything we've discussed. First, the quality of the ingredients is non-negotiable. They need to be pure and in forms that the body can actually absorb and utilize. Second, the dosages must be clinically relevant, meaning in amounts that science has shown to be effective, no more, no less. Third, synergy is key. The components must work together, like a well-tuned orchestra, where the effect of the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And above all, the solution must be safe, reliable, and easy to incorporate into your nighttime routine. That's exactly why, after years of guiding my patients and seeing how difficult it is to put this puzzle together every day, I did the research for you. For those seeking this convenience, certainty, and integration, I've left a link in the description of this video and also in the first pinned comment. It's a shortcut to a protocol that I personally trust, one that was formulated following exactly these principles of quality, dosage, and synergy. Consider it my personal recommendation, a safe guide to simplify your journey back to peaceful nights, saving you the work of research and the risk of making mistakes. Of course, it is my duty as a doctor to include a note of caution. Although the strategies we have discussed are based on natural foods and nutrients, it is always prudent to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement or making significant changes to your diet, especially if you have pre-existing health conditions or are taking prescription medications. Personalized medicine is always the best medicine. The goal of this channel is to educate and empower you so that you can have richer, more informed conversations with your healthcare provider. Your safety and well-being are the top priority. The journey to regaining sleep is, in essence, a journey to regaining yourself. It's about regaining the energy to play with your grandchildren, the clarity to read a good book, the patience to talk with those you love, and the simple joy of waking up feeling refreshed and ready for the day. This is not a luxury. It is the foundation for living your golden years with the vitality, dignity, and happiness you deserve. Insomnia does not have to be your sentence. It is a sign that your body needs support, that it needs the right resources to do the job it knows how to do so well: heal, repair, and rest. Today, you've learned about 3 powerful tools that nature offers us. Use this knowledge. Start small, be consistent, and above all, don't lose hope. The night may seem long, but morning always comes, and it can be full of energy and light again. If this conversation has brought you clarity, hope, or a new perspective, I ask that you do 2 final things. First, subscribe to the channel so we can continue this journey together. And second, share this video with someone you love who may be struggling in silence in the dark. A simple share could be the beacon that guides someone back to a safe harbor of rest and recovery. Thank you so much for your time and your trust. Sleep well.